Okay, this is going to be a funny video. You wouldn't believe what I'm doing. It's kind of strange. This is an this is an Ozonator, and I've got it in 30 minutes. And the reason I'm doing this is because a new kitchen unit was installed because the pipe burst. Sometimes disasters can be a blessing in disguise, so the water pipe burst, and it was old, and the whole thing was defective and rotten, and the guys had to come and take the old one out and put a new unit in. And that was today. And what happened the 21st of February 2018? And what happens is that they have to fit in the watertight. The unit is watertight with silicone, and it stinks. And I have like sensitivity to anything that smells. I can smell it, I can taste it in my mouth, I can feel it down my throat and in my gut. And I use an ozonator to ozonate water. Here I have two options. This is a dry cup, wait a minute, oh god, which I use if I want to clean the air, and this, I can put it in water, I don't know, I'm going to try both. I'm going to try 30 minutes dry, and I'm going to do 30 minutes water to give a bit of vapour, but this is distilled water that I distill myself. To do this process, 30-minute dry and 30-minute distilled water. Now what I usually do is I usually drink the water, but I'm not going to in this case. But the silicone smell is really bad, although it's drying pretty fast. And this is a disclaimer. What I'm doing here, this is my own life down the rabbit hole, right? I know what I'm doing. It's worked for me before, and so other people don't have to do this. I'm not doing this video for any other reason than to share my life down the rabbit hole. So So I have another video. I have to find that in the files. I have another video where I detox a duvet that just stinks. It's an ecological duvet, ecological textile, and I got it home and it was just stinking of that horrible fabric disinfectant, whatever. Oh my god, I thought I was going to die. So I have to show that because I used this Ozonator to detox the duvet and it worked. And with this you can detox veggies in water. You can do this, you can ozonate water and drink it. But this is for me right now an emergency because this, the smell of the silicone, the chemistry is, yeah, it's really bad. And I can actually feel it affecting my sinuses. I can feel a slight pressure in my head. And sure, I could just ignore it and think, okay, in 48 hours it's gone, but I just don't like it. So then the other thing is that I always have to try new things out, and so that's what I'm doing. I'm going to try this out, and I'm going to keep doing it for as long as I have to do it, to just feel good, or hopefully to detox this new sort of chemistry type thing, whatever. And also to put ozone into the air. So another thing I do that's just me, that's just something I do. You see, people, if I say, rarely I say anything, right? If I say in my video something, I rarely kind of say something like, criticism, or saying that I tend to say positive things, but maybe sometimes criticism can be positive. But I say the things that I say to share. Maybe to share a new perspective. Anyway, one of the other things I do when I have to deal with sort of horrible chemical type things is I have always used magnesium oxide capsules, and I find high quality, and use that to, I use the magnesium oxide to clean the colon, but I don't do like super, like take 2 or 4 capsules. I take 1 capsule to detox the colon, especially when like if I have food, I eat food and I have a really bad stomach, I just take one of those capsules, because what the magnesium oxide does is that it affects the colon in a beneficial way. It's not some, it's difficult to explain. Over time, it removes impacted waste from the walls of the colon that stop us digesting food as we go older. And when I have something like this, like if I have to breathe in fumes or something, or I get salmonella or E. coli, whatever, food poisoning, I eat something while I'm travelling and I get a really bad stomach, I just take one of those capsules. If it's a real emergency and I feel really sick, I take 2. But 1 is enough. Now, I've been doing this for years with the magnesium oxide. I've been doing this for years because years ago I got really sick and it was candida. And your colon, what happens is when the colon isn't working anymore, I'm kind of diverging, aren't I? When the colon isn't working anymore, or it gets sluggish, or the walls of the colon, just like a pipe, just like your good old water pipes, the impacted waste forms on the wall of the colon that very few people are aware of, or there are parasites. And I was getting sick, and my legs and my thighs and my stomach and everything get fatter and fatter, but I looked like my normal weight, but around the colon getting fatter and fatter. And then I came to a point, I thought, wait, it didn't, and I'm a vegetarian, I don't eat meat, I don't eat fish, I don't eat eggs, I'm lactose intolerant. I can't drink milk. In general, I don't eat cheese. Sometimes Parmesan now with pasta. And yet, I was just putting on weight, doubling in size. I thought, whoa, never in my life. So eventually I realized it was candida, mold, fungus, all kinds of issues in the colon that I cleared up slowly. But that's just, I mean, this is just me, right? Okay, so just don't listen to anything that I say. I'm just talking while I'm just chatting while the ozonator gets off into the air. And this is my experiment, and I may come back and wait a minute. Difficult with one hand, most difficult. And so then that was beneficial to me, to be not having to be having a crisis, and to be having to face that was beneficial for me, because if it hadn't happened, I guess what happens is we die slowly. It just gets slower and slower. But it was a crisis, and so I had to find my own down the rabbit hole solutions. And one of those solutions was probiotic, but not every probiotic is created equal. And I had to find one that worked for me, and the other was ozone water, which is also a gentle detox for me, only for me, not for anyone else. And what saved me was the magnesium oxide capsules. And all this I just taught myself. I figured it out. So and I'm a person, that happened to me, I'm a person who, I mean, I've tried just about every colon cleanse on the market. I mean, I would be doing my 8-week colon cleanse, and I can tell you 98% of them don't work. I mean, I was doing this one and that one, and because I knew from an early age, death is in the colon. So I would be doing anti-parasite, colon cleanse, the herbs. I would try out new ones. They were never really that effective. The 8-week thing, then you have to go back, it doesn't work, or things, and I still ended up in the mess that I was in, even though I was doing this for years. And eventually I realised you got to find a balance to keep the colon clean all the time, not just clean the colon when the sewage pipe gets blocked. That's when you put your soda, what is that? Down the drain when the pipes are blocked. And I realised, hey, you know, I've got to do this every week. But the types of cleanse, they don't work, you know, they're sort of, in my opinion, in my case, they didn't work for me at all. So I had to figure it out myself. And I came up with strange things like this. So and by the way, the magnesium oxide works, but you have to remember, or I am saying that I realise, not you have to remember, whatever you detox from your colon has to be processed by the liver and the kidneys. And that's why you really don't want to do it too quickly unless it's a real total emergency. Like if I have a really bad stomach and I know something's wrong, then I'll take 2 capsules and then the next day 2 capsules. But then you have to understand, I've been doing this kind of self-realization, sort of tech geek, health tech geek, down the rabbit hole, research on myself for like more than 6 years. So when you take care of yourself for 5 or 6 years, you're not going to have the load of toxins. Let me change, well, I'll just change it and show. You're not going to have the load of toxins in the colon that I just test out different ways, you know, to clean the air. I hope this works because the smell is horrible. Yeah, you're just not, if you regularly take care of your colon and figure out a way to do it that's okay for you, then you're not going to have the massive toxins and waste and impacted matter in the colon that you would over 4 years, 2 years, even 1 year cleanse. If you're just starting, when I started, I was really careful because I just go slow, because if you can imagine, it takes what? 10 years, 15, 20, 25, 30. How many years does it take to build up all that waste in the gut, in the colon, the large and small intestine? You really, well, I knew, because I've done like basically almost 30 or 40 years of my own studies, just researching stuff, because I'm interested. I'm not only a tech geek in this sense, you know, I love technology, but I'm a reality nature geek of what. It's the same thing, really. It's all about electric fields and consciousness and cleanliness. And I better close this. I've left that door open. But I knew, because I'd been studying myself for many, many years, so I instinctively knew. I'll just keep doing the water for right now, and I'll do the air one later. I don't know what the difference is, but I'm sure I'm going to find out if this works or not. And yeah, I just taught myself how to do things. And with the body, unless it's just a real emergency, the slower the better, just bit by bit. Not doing anything too overboard. Because as I say, I was aware, I knew that my liver and my kidney have to detox whatever I clean from the walls of the colon. So it's just all about research, really. Not researching 1 hour, 2 hours, but it's intense long-term research over weeks, months and years. And then maybe later I'll be able to figure out feel if this works or not. Ozonator versus